Take the exit. Turn right into the drive-thru.
Nope, I'm making dinner tonight.
You don't have time. Josh has practice.
Oh, that's right. I'll just get a salad.
And fries?
No, just the salad.
But salad cancels fries.
Salad only.
Fries.
Salad.
Fries.
Food noise isn't fair, but Mochi Health is. The affordable GLP-1 source that puts you on the road to successful weight loss.
Hey, can I get the...
Fries.
Salad. Sorry.
Learn more at joinmochi.com. Mochi members have access to licensed physicians and nutritionists. Results may vary.
It's car con carne. Let's eat in the car. It's car con carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
And welcome to Car Con Carne. I'm sharing the screen. I'm recording this from home, doing this remotely. I'm sharing the screen with two members, a mere fraction of the collective known as Diplomats of Solid Sound. I'm James Van Oswald. I'm joined by Doug Roberson and Forrest H of Diplomats of
Husingfeld.
Yeah, I was gonna give you the microphone I'm using and all my band royalties if you pronounce my name correctly. Unfortunately,
yeah,
you only get one shot. It's Forrest Husingfeld, I think is how it's pronounced, but
yes.
I'm not positive because I don't speak Dutch.
Diplomats of Solid Sound, the ambassadors of funk and soul from Iowa City. They bring the funk, they bring the soul. This right here is coming out. We're recording this on the 20th. On Wednesday the 20th, we are mere days away from its official formal release. It is the brand new EP. It is, as it says, the live EP, which pretty much says it all. It is what it is. It is a live EP, and we're going to talk about that. Before we get to the live EP, gentlemen, when I hear your band, I think this is a group of people who probably have the coolest record collections ever. Am I off base?
Talk to Doug about that, man. He's got thousands. Take it away, Doug.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, record collecting is possibly the only idea you ever get to finding the sounds that live in your head. And so you peruse, chase, do what you need to do, and then you try to not necessarily ape the idea, but take the idea, transform it, and then put it into a song. It's not that easy to do, but if you try hard, you can.
What impresses me, a lot impresses me about Diplomats of Solid Sound, is that you have 9 members, and you all come from the same approach. You all the same, you're kindred spirits. And to me, for the kind of sound you create, for that music that is steeped in that kind of 60s R&B and funk and soul, that you could find that many kindred spirits who want to create the same kind of music, which arguably isn't fashionable in the modern day. It's not part of, it's not topping the charts, but you found people who are kindred spirits who want to make this kind of music in Iowa, no less.
Yeah, it was completely, happenstance, really. I mean, like, when my last band, the Bent Scepters, kind of ended, the drummer and I tried to figure out an idea like, well, what should we do now? And so we were big fans of Booker T and the MGs, Jimmy Smith, some other sort of soul jazz things. It's like, oh, maybe we should try and go in that angle, without trying to be rock.
Mm-hmm.
And we did that semi-successfully for quite a few years, our own releases, our Estrus Records releases. And then we did a few shows with Sarah Cram singing, and we thought that maybe adding some singers might make us more popular. And Of course.
Sure enough.
It did.
Sure enough. So, and I'm glad you kind of set up your origin story, so to speak, because every interview, every performance is a chance to introduce yourself for the first time to someone. Your music does sound, it's fascinating. I can listen to it and say, yes, Diplomats of Solid Sound, they released this live EP in 2022. I could play it for someone else and tell them it was recorded in 1968. They'd say, oh, okay. Yeah. It has that kind of timeless.
Possibly.
Yeah, and this type of music is timeless. And not only that, but everybody loves it. For instance, you play some James Brown or some Booker T to a 5-year-old, and they have, no reference of what music should sound like or anything. And I guarantee, because I do this all the time as somebody that teaches lessons all day, they start moving and they feel it. Now, I don't have anything against Mozart or Beethoven or any, classical composers that don't have a drum beat happening. But if you play that for a 5-year-old, your standard 5-year-old, you're not going to get a response out of them in general. And wherever we play, whatever circumstance we play in, you get some kind of response. Everybody might not love it, but nobody's going to hate it and just be like, this music sucks. You're never going to hear that.
For sure.
Furthermore, as far as, being able to play this record for people and then have them not know whether this is created in the 60s or whether it is current in 2022, with this live album that comes out on April 22nd.
Friday.
Yeah, we recorded on a vintage Neve console that was originally housed at the Magic Shop, which is an iconic record. They did a lot of iconic records
in New York City.
Yeah, it's an iconic, recording studio in New York City. I think the Stones did some stuff there. David Bowie's last album was recorded on there. The grand piano was Bowie's grand piano. All the microphones, they were all there for decades. And so the gear that we recorded this on is all, legit vintage gear. It sounds beautiful. It has that warmth. And when you put this stuff on vinyl, it sounds like it could be a multi-million-dollar studio from 1973 or whenever. So that's kind of the beauty of it. And yeah, we're fortunate that we all are sort of into this weird old school stuff.
I love it. I'm a sucker for it.
Town. Yeah.
and you said it too. I mean, this is something that just screams to be heard on vinyl. If for no other reason to add to Doug's collection.
Yes, exactly.
There it is. For those who are not watching, who are just listening to the podcast, yes, Forrest is sitting in his natural habitat. He's surrounded by his drum kit, which I'm assuming you're just in front of, or behind 24/7. This is just who you are.
Yeah, pretty much. I ate lunch, dinner, breakfast, if I'm lucky enough to have it back here. Yeah, this is where it all goes down.
He makes his living teaching people how to play the drums. It's a fantastic idea. I wish I could do that with the guitar, but I don't have the patience to go you're not playing the E minor correctly,
Yeah, there's a lot of that. But there's a lot of that. But Doug and I have both, actually, when we first started getting to know each other, we were both working at a music venue in Iowa City called Gabe's, and we both worked at a bunch of venues and bartended and everything. So Doug, whenever I think I'm tired of teaching little Billy how to hold a freaking drumstick correctly, and I get frustrated by it, I just remember all the times that people have thrown up on us or clogged the toilets, or we had to throw out some giant obese redneck because he's yelling racial slurs at somebody
How come
on
you
stage.
won't serve me
and then I
another
think,
drink, man, come on,
right?
Serve me another drink. No,
we all missed the live music experience so much during the pandemic.
Right. yeah. But so I think about that, and it's like, okay, this is all right. This is okay.
Yeah,
I can
right.
teach little Billy how to do things correctly.
and because you're an instructor and because you're patient, you're probably the right person to kind of be the voice of common reason when you get that many people on the road together doing shows.
Yeah, and this crew is pretty good. I mean, they're all smart, talented people that generally have their lives together. So
I think everybody in the band has college BA, right?
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
were
everybody in
thinking.
the band has one.
Yeah, we were thinking about upping it to like a master's on the next
Masters?
level. Like,
Oh, then
you
I
have
would
to have
fail,
a master.
you know?
Yeah, in order to audition, you need to provide a link to a LinkedIn profile, or at least a paper copy of your CV, or resume,
Yep, that's
and
right.
then you can plug in. Then you can rehearse with the band, but only
Right,
then.
right.
Well, as far as the live show goes, and again, we'll talk about this EP, we'll talk about the music, but talking about feeling the music, talking about, you mentioned James Brown, just playing stuff and having people feel it. Yes, the recorded music is great, but for a band like yours, and I wouldn't say this about every band necessarily, but the live show really is a big part to understanding who you are and what you do. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. It definitely is like, I mean, if you come to see a Diplomats of Solid Sound show and you can't leave without saying, like, well, they're pretty goddamn good, then obviously you like heavy metal.
Nothing wrong with that.
Or
You can like both.
or Taylor Swift, I don't know. Yeah.
There's a place for everyone at the table. But
Yep.
to your point, you can't walk out of a Diplomat show and not.
Yeah, go like think it's crap. Yeah, you can't.
And
That's
if you're not sweating walking out of a Diplomat show, you've done it all wrong.
You haven't tried hard.
Right. That's the kind of show you go home and you want to incinerate your clothes afterwards because they're just steeped in sweat. You want to leave them by the front door and take a nice cleansing Silkwood shower because you've worked it out.
That's right. That's how you know when you've done it correctly.
That's exactly right.
And unfortunately, during the pandemic, we were not able to play at all.
Right.
It's been over 2.5 years since we've played together. It was 2.5 years since we were even in the same room until a rehearsal that we had a couple weeks ago because we saw these dates coming up and we thought, you know what? We should probably get together once and, dust it off a little bit. And so hopefully, with this releasing this live album in a couple days and having these shows coming up, it'll kind of reinvigorate us as well as, the crowd that's into us.
I think the rehearsals themselves really did a good job of going yeah, we still got this, even though we're getting a bit old, well, especially me. But I mean, the rehearsals were tight and enthusiastic and I don't know. I mean, look out.
Everybody was
It's
in
gonna
good
kick
spirits.
ass. Yeah.
Everybody was happy to see each other after 2.5 years of nothing.
Yeah.
Because after
I
a
bet.
week, if we're on the road for a week, we're happy to see anybody or anything other than each other. But given that the world just ended for and continued ending for 2 years with this pandemic, we were all kind of, we're in good spirits. So
Yeah,
I bet.
I agree.
And again,
give it
a couple more months and
give it a couple months and we'll be back to the old us.
Pravda Fest at Sketchbook in Skokie, which is, depending on the time of day, 15 minutes from Chicago, 30, depends on when you're going. June 25th, it is the Slugs. I never thought I'd say that. The Service, OMG, the Handcuffs, and this band right here, Diplomats of Solid Sound. The new release, the live EP, comes out on Friday the 22nd. No overdubs, no editing. That's a courageous move in the present day because you don't have to go that route. But
yeah, and I think this is the first time that we're announcing this. We have video of all 5 of the songs of us recording it, and they will be released one by one. The first one comes out on Friday, April 22nd. And
what's are you doing it sequentially, or is there an order to
it's
this?
just sort
It's
of
arbitrary.
it's determined by Pravda what order, but we're going to do the first one. I guess we'll find out on Friday which one it is. And then we're going to, gradually release the other 4. And so there's, no question that, and also the video just looks cool because it's in this old
I bet.
rustic looking recording studio.
Oh, I'm so glad you captured that.
Yeah, absolutely. We are too. And it's a headache, man, organizing 9 people and 2 recording engineers and a record label and 2 cameramen with 6 cameras that all the batteries keep on dying, and
Sure.
the bass player is hungry, and if he doesn't get food soon, he's going to kill somebody, and all kinds, everything. And we did this all hungover after like 5 days of shows, between here and Chicago and Des Moines, and so, but we pulled it off, and it sounds good.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. I've been saying since the pandemic started, I'm surprised that there hasn't been a video renaissance with music
Right.
videos, performance videos, just because that was the only way to communicate your art during the lockdown, other than basic music. I'm surprised that more artists aren't doing that. And I love that you're doing that with the live EP tracks.
Yeah, it would have been cool to put it out maybe a year ago or something, but the timing
so
just
cool.
wasn't
Yeah.
right, and we're all trying to survive at that point. But better a couple months late than never, I guess.
So again, no overdubs or editing. That's a level of confidence that you don't see in a lot of musicians today. But this is the way music was recorded back in the day. You get the band in the studio and just let them do their thing.
Well, for sure, they only had a certain amount of time that they could actually record their 2 songs for their 45. So, you had to either be on top of it, or then the producer or engineer would just go, "That's good enough. Let's go." And that, you're left with the mistakes. And sometimes some of those are okay.
Yeah, sometimes it adds a little soul, a little human element to it to have some mistakes in there. But yeah, that's
For sure.
exactly the approach that we took. Is we have this 4-hour, 6-hour window to go in, get our equipment set up, mic check everything, make sure everyone can hear each other in their headphones, and then bang out as many songs as we could in this window before all the batteries on the recording devices died, and before we had to. Actually, now that I think about it, the next morning we were playing on WGN Morning News in Chicago. And so we had like a firm deadline, because that's an 8 a.m. gig. We had a firm deadline. We needed to get out of the studio and then hit the road and then go crash at Ken Goodman's Pravda house and then wake up early and go, play on TV 12 hours before we normally would play a gig. Usually it's 8 p.m., not 8 a.m. But yeah, so it was just in and out, and it turned out pretty well. I mean, I guess we'll see if anybody likes it.
Well, I like it. I've heard it. I have it right here.
Thank you.
There are a couple songs on the live EP from What Goes Around Comes Around, which came out a little bit ago. Was that a turning point for the band, or a moment, shall we say, that album?
We were down one singer at that time because Abby had gone to New Zealand to finish some graduate program for journalism. And so we only had 2 singers, and we were just trying to do all the songs that we had at that time, but we were experimenting a little bit, and Goes Around Comes Around kind of has a little more Curtis Mayfield kind of, psychedelic flavors, and some other songs on that record had some other sort of ideas, but just, try stuff.
Well, you know what it has, Doug? It has BOOGALOO. That's what it has.
And that is like kind of straight up sort of like Alvin Cash and the Barracudas kind of thing, which is, I think, a kind of, I'm going to say I kind of stole that idea, but
that's one of those Diplomats of Solid Sound songs where if that doesn't get you moving, I give up. I don't know what to do.
You're toast.
I think that was actually it was the NPR song of the day or song of the week.
Yeah,
or
I think you're right.
In 2012 or whenever that came out.
Because it was like it wasn't an Alvin Cash and whatever his bands. He always changed the name of his band's name, but it was basically somewhat a tribute of his idea of these sort of like quasi soul get down songs that didn't have like a lead vocalist, right? So you have like this like pattern that people could dance to, and then you'd have some female vocals, but that would be all there was to it. There wasn't like a narrative or a line or a chorus. It was just kind of a get down, I guess is what I would call it.
It's basically gang vocals.
Yeah.
A little bit of gang
funky
vocals and a little bit of like just like something that would put people's asses on the dance floor.
100% success, victory, did it. So the songs on the live EP: Soul Connection, No Man, Come in My Kitchen, Dry Land, and Jealous. A nice cross section of who you are, what you've done, and what you're able to do in this situation, live to tape. I love it. Your sound is timeless and cool, and I hope people latch on to this. If they don't hear the songs in audio streaming form, I hope they find the videos and go from there, because there's once you go down the rabbit hole with your band, there's no coming back.
Well, the Soul Connection found, for some odd reason, on Spotify, and beyond any of our realizations, any of our expectations, there were certain artists that had like their playlists, and then they would add that song to it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Forrest has the actual figures of how many times it's been played, but it's had over 25 million streams to my knowledge.
Yeah. It's almost
but that was not by our doing. That was by happenstance, luck, and the fact that it's a goddamn good song.
That's it. Well, in marketing, I think we call that earned media.
Right.
You created good content and people did the work for you. That's it.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah, it's up to 29 million streams right now just for that one song, which is just kind of crazy for this kind of small town band from Iowa.
Our other one is like, you know, what is like Come Into My Kitchen has over 1 million, but only slightly over 1 million.
Right. And then all the rest are hundreds of thousands and, you know, hundreds of thousands every day. And it just kind of, we kind of expect it to.
But Soul Connection, like, that's just like, for some odd reason, connected with all these, like, what do they call them? Like, informers or
influencers?
Influencers. And it took off. Yeah, and it's made me a lot of money. I mean, not like Jay-Z money or, you know, Jack White money, but it made me some money. I appreciate that.
Maybe some Pablo Cruz money?
I don't know. That one Pablo Cruz song was pretty good.
It is. It's great. Are you kidding me? Love will find a way. It's a great one. All right. So the live EP is out Friday. You mentioned Pravda. You are playing the Pravda Fest. It's an all weekend long affair, the 24th and 25th at Sketchbook Brewing in Skokie. The night you're playing, it is the Slugs, the Service, the Handcuffs, Diplomats of Solid Sound. It's the 38th anniversary of Pravda, and as we know, the 38th is always the big one, no matter what we're talking about. 38th is the big anniversary year. Tell us about Pravda and what that label means and what it means to you.
I saw Ken Goodman's band, The Service, play at the Crow's Nest in Iowa City when I was still in college, maybe 1985. And those guys rocked. I mean, they had a lead singer, they had a keyboard player, they had a bass player, they had a guitar player and a drummer. And back then, you didn't see that much shit in Iowa City. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, you were lucky to see some bands from Minneapolis, from Chicago every once in a while. And I would go see them, and they'd be playing like a Wednesday night. But this is pre-internet. This is pre-college radio even. I mean, this is just random-ass bullshit, you know? And there were these guys rocking the stage. And, you know, I eventually, like, went to an after-hours party with them and got to meet Ken and Rick Mosier, and we just talked and hung out, you know, and like, you know, ideally trying to screw some of the girls that were at the after party. But, you know, whether we did or not, it doesn't really matter. But the connection I made with him was that he was starting a label. And this was like 1985, 1984, somewhere in that realm. And then he eventually put out one of my band's very first records in that era, 1986, The Shy Strangers. He was very helpful in trying to make rock happen in a level that no one really knew what that meant, but he was trying to do it. And that was super cool. And so he's always had my back, and I've always been a fan and a huge friend of Ken Goodman's. And the amount of times I've been drunk and ridiculous with him at South by Southwest over the years, you know, or in Chicago. Hard to say, but the man's always kept it together. Mm-hmm. Whether I have or not, that's a different question.
See, it's so funny. I grew up in Chicago, and my perception of indie labels is so different from what the reality is. I grew up in a city where Pravda had a record store, Wax Trax had a record store.
Yeah,
I thought these labels were larger than life, and they were to me. But I, you know, with the clarity of hindsight, I realized that was not the norm. Like that these labels were able to build these communities and scenes and outlets as big as they did. And Pravda to me was always a big deal. They put out those K-Tel comps. I'm like, holy shit, this is.
Yeah. I had a band, Head Candy was on one of those K-Tel. We did like a Rod Stewart song, I think Maggie May. It was not that good. But hey, regardless, they had a cool place.
Hey Doug, is that the one that wound up on MTV, like with the music video, the Head Candy one?
That was Head Candy's original. Okay. But Ken had I think one of the first Pravda record stores was in adjacent to the Cabaret Metro in Chicago. Right. I mean, that had to be one of the best places you could possibly be to try and sell records, especially if they would do like, and the Cabaret Metro would do like all ages shows, and they throw everybody out, and they do like these late shows. I mean, and the venue was fantastic.
For sure. And of course, if that's your only memory, if you'd never returned to Chicago and you came back to that neighborhood now, you would recognize none of it.
None of it?
And Metro is still there. But I mean, back then, the era you're talking about, the Pravda Records era, I mean, Wrigleyville was kind of sketchy. Like,
you're right.
And now it's like,
is the Ginger Man still there?
It is, and that's part of the Metro Collective. It's the G Man. But now it's like walking through Vegas. I mean, now that the Cubs are World Series champions or won a World Series championship, all the retail and lifestyle stuff descended in that area. It's all super pricey. It is gone are the days of dive bars, and it's very hipster, very influencer friendly, to put it another way, Doug.
Interesting.
It's a very Instagrammable area.
I remember farther down on Halstead, there would always be like these like resale shops and like
Some of those are
punk
still
rock
there.
shops and stuff. Yeah, way back in the day.
For sure. All right, so I'm bearing the lead. The live EP comes out on Friday the 22nd. It's awesome. It's 5 songs. It is a perfect overview of what this band is, what this band does, Diplomats of Solid Sound. And I I urge people to see for themselves, because we talked about the live show being really essential to the experience with this band. June 25th, Pravda Fest at Sketchbook, the Slugs, the Service, and the Handcuffs, and Diplomats of Solid Sound. And since I'm talking about that weekend, the night before, it's Josh Caterer, Steve Dawson, Hush Drops, and Boom Hank. That right there, that's a weekend. That's Pravda Fest at Sketchbook in Skokie. And there will be a Pravda beer released in conjunction with the fest. Everything's coming up, Pravda.
Hopefully it's not an IPA. I hope it's a stout.
Doug has some issues with these microbrews that are coming through these days. Whatever happened to the good old-fashioned American Budweiser? Right, Doug?
I like a lager or a stout, but don't give me an IPA, please.
He can hold it fairly well, though. He just doesn't. Is it the flavor, or what's the deal with that?
It always tastes like it's unfinished, like the brewers did their steps, but then they missed one step. And it's like the step that makes it taste good.
Now, I don't know what kind of beer this is going to be, but if I were Sketchbook, if I were Pravda, I might not go the stout route. If you're trying to get mass buy-in and appreciation, you might want to go with something a little less niche.
You're probably right.
All the kids these days are drinking IPAs, it seems like.
They are.
And Ken seems like he's going, at least before the pandemic.
Because it tastes like weed,
stuff and,
man. It tastes like weed.
And he was in India, it seemed like every other week. So maybe it's going to be an IPA. If I had to bet on it, I'm going to say
he has this buddy that like is an old friend of his. I can't remember his name is Sharif or something, but that guy's brother is like some global super rich magnate dude that has like his own airline or own private jets.
I'm making all the wrong friends.
Go like, hey man, I'll just go ride with you around the world.
Yeah, we should try to convince him to start a record label, and then we can jump ship. Let's go from Pravda to this rich Indian dude whose name we don't know.
Pravda Fest, June 24th, June 25th. I cannot wait to see you and the rest of your collective gathered together.
I think it's going to be a good time.
Oh my God, it's going to be a great time.
I mean, to see
it's
like
summer. This is a band you want to see in the summertime.
Yeah.
To see the Service reunion will be interesting.
To see the Slugs reunion.
Slugs reunion would be super interesting. Because those guys probably haven't played a show in like 30 years.
Right. And there should be like protective barriers separating the brothers on stage.
There might be.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the Handcuffs too.
Oh yeah,
because I'm a Brad Elvis fan, and I think they're playing right before us, so it's gonna kind of be weird.
Having
to play right after Brad.
Interesting day. There's no doubt about that.
It's gonna be awesome. All right, Doug, Forrest, thank you for doing this. I can't wait to see you in June.
Looking forward.
Thank you,
to
man.
it.